So after about a week and $500 million later, we are now here at the spoiler video of mine. And let's just get right into it, all right? Let's just not even dilly-dally with the intro. So, one of my main points that I said in my last video was that I thought that this movie was just objectively bad. You know, it's a fun time, but it's objectively bad. And what does that really mean? And, you know, I should have prefaced this by saying in my previous video that whenever I say a movie is objectively bad, I'm mainly talking about the narrative, right? I think if a movie has a bad narrative, you know, a plot, story, and characters, then the movie itself just isn't really that great. I think it's the most important ingredient to a movie, obviously on top of it being entertaining. And I thought that this movie had very hollow motivations. I thought the narrative was hollow, and I thought a lot of the events that took place were also kind of hollow. And I will just be talking about why I thought this way, all right? So yeah, whenever I say something is like bad, a movie is bad, I'm mainly just talking about the plot and the characters, etc., all right? And I'm not saying that the movie was bad because it was a comedy and it was fun and it was dumb. Like, that's not what I'm saying, okay? I'm just talking about the narrative, okay? That's mostly what I talk about on this channel anyway. This channel is mostly about the story elements of a movie. Because, I don't know, I mean, for me, if I'm not really invested in what's happening, then I just don't really care about the action or really the jokes or you know, I need to be invested for me to care, okay? Like, I just can't help it. Like, the evil TVA guy, Paradox, he thought it was a good idea to kidnap Deadpool just to tell him that he was going to erase his timeline. Like, why the fuck did he do that? Or why did Cassandra Nova, like, have a heartfelt moment immediately before getting a murder boner to wipe out all of existence? Like, this movie just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense, I'm sorry. Anyway, moving on. And again, this video, same thing. No, not a real script here, just kind of ideas and thoughts that come to my head when thinking about this movie. First point I want to make is just Cassandra Nova as a character.
I'm sure it's not that noticeable. Bald!
Her motivations were just kind of confusing to me because she was more than fine with living in the void forever, apparently. She basically fulfilled that archetype of like being the dragon, right? Like, she had her lair, she never left her lair, and would only really attack those who got close enough, you know what I mean? But then towards the end of the movie, she has like this change in character motivations or something where she wants to prune like the Fox universe, I guess, and then subsequently prune every other universe using the Time Ripper or whatever. But like, why? Like, why? You know? And then she also says that she wants to be like the ruler of the void after wiping out the multiverse. But again, why? If you're gonna end up sitting in the void for all of eternity anyway, why would you want to wipe out everybody else? Why would you want to wipe out the TVA and every other universe? Like, doesn't that mean that you would get less visitors in the void? Doesn't that mean that you would rule over less stuff? Because the TVA won't be sending, you know, their trash down there. They won't be pruning people. They won't be, you know, getting rid of timelines. So you won't be getting more visitors. I don't really know. Wouldn't that just mean that you're alone in the void? You know, you're going to stop getting new visitors. You're going to stop getting new stuff. I don't know. I feel like her plan just doesn't make sense, like, at all. I think it's kind of fucking stupid. And, you know, speaking of the void... The void itself was such an underwhelming place. Like, conceptually, it is pretty cool. There's no denying that, right? I think it is a cool place. But in execution, it's not really all that interesting. Like, from a narrative or even a visual standpoint, the void's just kind of lacking. It's a bunch of generic-looking landscapes filled with very random objects, and that would be fine if the movie made better use of the surrounding pruned objects. The most we really get is like Cassandra Nova's home base, right? Which is, you know, a giant skeleton of a former Ant-Man. That is cool. But beyond that one thing, most of the void is subjugated to like being in the background, you know, random indiscriminate objects, just kind of out of focus that may or may not be Easter eggs. I don't know, I wasn't able to catch them all. The most that we got from the void in that aspect was our heroes fighting in front of the 20th Century Fox logo. And I would have liked to see the void more flushed out and have it be more of an actual presence in the story. For example, all right, just to support my argument here, to make more sense of what I'm even saying. For example, shit like small towns in movies or shows, right? Something like Amityville from Jaws, or Hawkins from Stranger Things, or fucking Hogwarts from Harry Potter, right? These places have a presence of their own. Or even the Temple of Doom from, well, I guess the Temple of Doom. Or, you know, Skull Island from the King Kong movies. These places are almost their own characters in a way. In those settings, around any corner basically, our characters can run into something that'll seriously fuck them up. A booby trap, a dinosaur, or whatever. But what do Deadpool and Wolverine run into while in the void? They run into like a biker gang that is also just tied directly into the main villain anyway. These other places feel like actual living, breathing places for our characters to be in. A location can be its own character, and usually they're better off for it. And granted, listen, I'm not saying I wanted the Void to be necessarily this fleshed out. Okay, I get it. These places have had multiple installments to be built upon, which in fairness, I guess so has the Void. But, I would have liked to see more exploration of this place. As it stands now, the Void is just kind of lame. Again, it's either generic wasteland or desert or generic grass fields or mountains or whatever. And sure, you could argue that is the point. But then that also just defeats the point of the fucking Void to begin with, right? I mean, again, it's the trash dump of the multiverse, essentially. It's clearly there to have wacky shenanigans happen and Cameo City to take place, right? In my head, I thought it would have been chock full of just random shit, like a fucking Fortnite map or something, right? But anyway, no, I mean, the Void is just this. It's this. And I just wish the Void was cooler, okay? I'm not even saying I wanted more cameos. I'm just saying I wanted more shit in the Void that wasn't just like the 20 people that lived there, apparently. Oh, but then that's what Alioth is for. He cleans up and eats everything in the Void, That's why it's devoid of life. He's the cleanser of the wasteland. That's why it looks like that. Oh, so you're saying that they basically wrote in a giant force of nature that actively makes the setting of half the movie more boring and less interesting. Okay. And this goes without mentioning that Alioth only hangs around Cassandra Nova's castle, or whatever you want to call it, really. He doesn't scour the Void like he did in Loki. He is actively less interesting because he doesn't really move around. And you know what? Speaking of less interesting, let's talk about Wolverine real quick. My opinion, I thought they did Hugh Jackman kind of dirty. Granted, he looks like he's having a great time, and he's probably having a lot of fun, and his portrayal of the character is entertaining to watch for sure. But like I mentioned in my spoiler-free review, most of his screen time and dialogue is just him brooding and being angry and saying shit like, "Hey, shut up, bub, I don't care, I don't give a fuck, you're annoying." And then when he's finally able to have something, it's an exposition dump of his traumatic past. The past that makes him the worst Wolverine in the entire multiverse, apparently. Which, by the way, was what he did really that bad? I mean, no, yeah, it's terrible. Killing innocent people is bad, but his traumatic exposition dump ends up being like, that a bunch of humans came and hunted down the X-Men, and instead of being there to help, Logan was out getting wasted or something, I don't know. And then when he finally shows back up, they're all dead, all the X-Men are dead, and then he kills all the mutant hunters, and then subsequently, I guess, goes on a rampage and kills other innocent civilians too. He probably kills humans, maybe even outlaws the mutants or something, I don't know. He has his own, like, Anakin Skywalker moment, okay?
I killed them all. They're dead. Every single one of them. And not just the men, but the women and the children too.
He basically does that. And I think an issue with all of this is that we don't see any of it, okay? The movie has a lot of exposition, like a lot of exposition, and a lot of talking about things that we never fucking see. We never see Logan's traumatic past, or the fall of the X-Men, or Cassandra Nova's past, or whatever. We're just kind of told about a lot of things, but we don't really see it, so there's not a lot of weight there. That's like one of the cardinal sins in narrative storytelling within film. Telling and not showing, when it should be the opposite. You should be showing and not telling. It's a lot more engaging that way. But this movie likes to fucking tell you things, dude. It likes to exposit. And while on the subject of not showing shit, I wish that they showcased more of Logan and Deadpool's healing factors.
Jesus Christ, you kidding? I think I'm invincible. It's the only thing that makes sense. I don't think I can die.
Listen, I'll admit everything I'm about to say, for better or worse, will be a little bit nitpicky in this section. But seriously, I just wish that they did more with their healing factors. Like, remember when Logan survives a fucking nuclear bomb and Deadpool gets torn in half and has to grow his lower body back? These are like cool ways to use the healing factors that don't even necessarily involve action. But in Deadpool and Wolverine, they only really use that healing factor during action scenes, during fight scenes. They hit each other and then they heal, so that way they get to keep hitting each other and keep healing and blah, blah, blah. Like, there's a couple action scenes that are built around that, and it is cool. I just wish there was more there narratively outside of just they heal during action scenes so they can fight for longer and do more extreme moves on each other, I guess. And listen, again, I know I'm being nitpicky here. I don't know, I wanted to see more use of the healing factor since it is such a pivotal part of both characters. Whatever, moving on from that, let's just talk about Paradox here.
to avoid some sort of paradox.
Because he's like, you know, one of the main villains of the movie. And I thought that his motivations were just kind of weak and didn't really make a whole lot of sense, like, unless I missed something, unless I'm not understanding it. So he was tasked with overseeing the death of the Fox timeline, I believe. But since it's going to take too long to decay and die out naturally, because it's going to take like hundreds of thousands of years or whatever the fuck he said, he creates a Time Ripper, you know, another MCU MacGuffin. Oh, exciting stuff. And he's going to use it to destroy the timeline sooner rather than later. But then he also goes on to say that, like, his higher ups don't want him to do that. You know, they no longer prune timelines like they used to. But he says that he wants to become a mercy killer of timelines, basically, which in his head will then allow him to move up in the TVA and subsequently become the boss of it or something. He wants to become the TVA, right? By, like, impressing his higher ups with how efficient he's being with cleaning up the timelines. But, like, dude, they already used to do that. They no longer do that. They say that. In what fucking world would you move up in the TVA if you're actively going against what the fuck they want you to do? Why the fuck would this be a good idea for you to move up in your job? It's not. It's fucking stupid. Paradox's motivations don't make any sense. And you know what else doesn't make any sense? I'm sorry, but the fact that he also had like a phone that could just make phone calls down into the void, he could just do that. And I mean, okay, if he could make phone calls down into the void to begin with, then why didn't he just give Cassandra Nova the phone? They already established that they have a deal of some kind, you know, with her cleaning up the TVA's trash and blah, 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 whatever the fuck she says at the end of the movie, which means that they're in cahoots in one way or another. So then why not just work with her instead of Pyro? Pyro fucking sucks. And sure, he's like, oh, Cassandra Nova can't be controlled. She's a wild card. But then why even establish that you guys are working together in the first place? I don't understand. Whatever. Maybe I'm being nitpicky with that too.
Interesting reaction. But what does it mean?
It's just hard for me to really get invested in any movie when the motivations of our characters don't have any weight, let alone make sense. Like, Deadpool wanted to join the Avengers at the beginning of the movie. Why? You know, granted, this is when he still had the cable wristwatch thing in 2018. So he wants to join the Avengers for some reason that we don't really, like, it just kind of happens off screen. He's like, oh, I just want to be an Avenger in between movies. I don't fucking know why. And another thing I couldn't really help shake is, like, he knows about the Avengers that didn't even exist in his universe, right? So he goes to 616 to try to become an Avenger, again, that don't exist. He knows about Kevin Feige and he knows about Hugh Jackman playing the character Wolverine, and he knows about, you know, Disney and Marvel and being Marvel Jesus and Fox and etc., etc. But then he still needs like multiple exposition dumps throughout the movie to get him caught up to speed to the plot. You know, like, I feel like Deadpool should have just like skipped all that like nonsensical exposition and just got on with the movie. I get you need it for the audience, but I was sort of just waiting for a moment where he like turned to the camera and he's like, you know, I know all this exposition, but this is for you guys, the audience, not for me. I was waiting for something like that because I feel like he should have known all that. But, you know, and it's probably nothing more than just a gag, you know, him wanting to be an Avenger. Whatever, I'll concede to that. He can't join the Avengers and instead has a normal-ish life with his friends and family from the previous two movies. And since the TVA is going to prune his timeline, he's got to save the day for his family. But again, going back to weak motivations, we only see Wade's family for like 3 minutes at the beginning of the movie and then another 3 minutes at the end of the movie. So it's not like we really feel the stakes of the movie as much as we maybe should, because they just don't have the screen time. You can tell me his motivations and you can tell me to care. It doesn't mean that I will. It doesn't have the sauce, okay? Same thing with Wolverine having a change of heart and wanting to be an X-Men again, like towards the end of the movie and where he wants to sacrifice himself for Deadpool. Which, listen, even though these two characters have chemistry for days, I still thought their relationship was undercooked by the end. Like, we're told that Logan cares about Deadpool and he wants to sacrifice himself for Deadpool because he's got a life and he doesn't have something to go back to, and he's come to terms with that and he wants to sacrifice himself. But like, I didn't really see where that change happened. It just kind of does. The movie tells us, hey, you know, release Cassandra Nova. I'm an X-Men. This is what Xavier would have wanted. Like, pair that with the weak motivations from our already weak villains and you just have like a wishy-washy narrative that isn't all that engaging if you think about it for more than 2 seconds. Which brings me to my final point, I think. And it's that maybe I should have just taken the advice of the couple hundred comments that I got on my last video, and I should have just turned my brain off.
What about the Orb of Confusion?
Too many people were telling me, dude, you went into it with the wrong expectations. Did you expect Shakespeare? Dude, just turn off your brain and enjoy the movie. Like, holy fuck. Listen, if anyone goes into an MCU movie and expects Shakespeare, that person is a fucking dodo bird, okay? We all know what we're getting with these movies. To say that people go into these movies expecting more is just wrong, okay? We all know why we're watching these movies. They're MCU movies. They're superhero movies. They are comic book movies. We know why we're in the theater to watch them. They're all very similar. We know it's going to be a dumb action movie where the good guys win and the bad guys lose. And if we're lucky, we might even get some heart in it too, which I don't think this one really has, but I digress. I mean, the most heart I've heard people say that this movie has is like, you know, the send-off for all these older characters. Oh, Elektra, Blade, and Gambit, all these other characters finally get to have their ending. But their ending is just helping Wolverine and Deadpool into the MCU. And sure, you could argue, oh, it's a pretty heartwarming ending. But if anything, to me, it just seems more like an insult than having a heart to me. Like, these characters are just brought back to prop up our new shit in Deadpool and Wolverine, and they're used to prop up the MCU. Their whole function is to just get Deadpool and Wolverine through Cassandra and into the portal. You know, it just seems like a middle finger more than it is heart. To me, maybe I'm an asshole. But what I can't figure out is why isn't that same thought put towards other movies in the MCU? You know, oh dude, just turn off your brain. The writing isn't supposed to be good. It's a comedy. It's a Deadpool movie. Yeah, but then why isn't that also given to movies like Thor: Love and Thunder or The Marvels, for example? Both of these movies are basically in the same vein as Deadpool and Wolverine. They're big, dumb action comedies that want to do nothing more but entertain you. But what's the most common critique that everyone will throw towards these bad MCU movies? Oh, the writing is bad. It's just badly written, dude. It's badly written. Listen, I would argue that these two movies are basically on the same level of quality writing. If anything, at least in these two movies, the villains make fucking sense. This bitch, whose name I don't even remember, wants to save her homeworld and is stealing different aspects of other planets in order to do so, right? Listen, it ain't groundbreaking in the slightest, it's not anything original, but at least it's something. Oh, what about Gore? Okay, fine, let's talk about Gore. Gore lost his daughter and blames the gods for it, right? So he kills a bunch of them and heads to eternity and ends up resurrecting his daughter, allowing her to grow up with the one god that actually treated him with any amount of respect and compassion. The one thing that he sought to destroy, the thing that killed his daughter in the first place, will now be her salvation and will be there to protect and raise her. These movies, I swear to God, are better written than whatever the fuck is going on in Deadpool and Wolverine. And listen, I'm not even talking about the other like post-Phase 3 movies that people are also crapping on. So when someone tells me that I should just turn off my brain, dude, just turn off your fucking brain and enjoy the Deadpool movie. Because it's dumb, and it's a comedy, and it's not supposed to be well written. But then they'll also go out of their way to then shit on Thor: Love and Thunder and The Marvels for being poorly written, apparently. Which again, are also just dumb comedies, by the way. I can't help but be confused. What are the fans talking about? These movies all have the same issues. But since this movie has blood and sex jokes and fourth wall breaking, it's apparently exempt of all the same criticism that they'll toss towards other movies. These movies are badly written, but this one isn't. This one's good, these are bad. But they're like the same, dude. Can we at least have like a consistent argument and bias against new MCU movies? Just please. Because these last three movies have just been dumb comedies, but these are, I don't get it. I don't know.
Yeah, I couldn't really find a clip for this one, so let's just say this is like the pretentious douchebag section. This is all I really have for this.
Like, if I think about something that's badly written in a comic book movie, I think of the Deadpool core in this movie. There's the slightest bit of a throwaway line about them earlier in the movie, and it's just like there to foreshadow their appearance later. But really though, it's a throwaway line there, so that way their appearance later on in the movie isn't completely jarring. It's not even good foreshadowing. It's not even like an actual line of fucking dialogue. It's like, watch out for the Deadpool core because they're gonna show up later in the movie. Just wait. And then what happens? They randomly show up at the end of the movie for the cool factor. They serve no greater purpose other than to be a gag. If you stop to think about it for more than 2 seconds, which again, I guess you shouldn't, you think like, well, why are they even helping Cassandra Nova? Deadpool makes it super clear to them that if she succeeds what she's doing, all their timelines will cease to exist. All their loved ones will die. But instead of getting some like, character moments between all these Deadpools, some actual dialogue about motivations or why anything is happening in this movie, they just open fire on him, right? Like, no, oh shit, he's got a point. Like, she's gonna destroy everything that we like and know. So then why are we actually helping her? You know, maybe we should team up with Deadpool. No, dude, we don't get any of that. Why get a character moment when you can just lean into the action? Shut up and turn off your fucking brain. It astounds me to no end how people fail to grasp that a movie can be both fun, even dumb fun, and still be of genuine quality. Like, okay, come on, there are plenty of action comedies that were and still are critical darlings, okay? There are even plenty of superhero movies that are praised highly by the pretentious people that are apparently trying to tear down Deadpool and Wolverine. Not just comic book movies like Logan and The Dark Knight that straddle between genre lines. People like me who didn't like Deadpool and Wolverine, you know, online reviewers or professional critics or whatever, don't hate fun and wish that every movie was some low-budget character drama about fucking lesbians made by some auteur or something. Okay, that's not what the fuck we want. I can appreciate movies that are meant for wide 4-quadrant appeal as long as they're quality made. But at this point, I mean, Marvel Studios is kind of just churning out cookie-cutter assembly line products that don't really have like an artistic voice and are mostly just forgettable spectacles, you know? Which is why people are kind of calling them theme park rides. You know, remember when Scorsese said it and everyone got on his shit about it? Like, listen, you can enjoy it all you want. If you're fine with pure entertainment simply as that, then that's great, dude. Hell, any film bro cinephile asswipe worth their salt is gonna have a movie that they just can't say no to. Some dumb, fun movie that they just can't say no to. They love that shit, okay? But let's not like mischaracterize people as pretentious or unable to have fun, or that they just didn't get it or whatever for simply wanting a better product. Like, not being able to have fun isn't nor has it ever been the issue with these movies or with this specific movie. It's just a messy, sloppy movie with a lot of fucking issues that are okay to acknowledge. It's not the end of the world if we acknowledge the problems that are in this movie. It's okay to turn on your brain.
The mission. The nightmares. They're finally
And I don't know, those have been my spoiler thoughts on Deadpool and Wolverine, and I guess my 2 cents on like the MCU at large, okay? There's a lot of hypocrisy going on within this weird-ass fandom. You know, part of me wishes that people maybe shit on this movie too, like they did with The Marvels or Thor Love and Thunder. So that way maybe it would force Disney and Marvel to truly do something different moving forward.
You know, I shouldn't say shit on. I should say, like, show some tough love. Okay, maybe that's a better way to put it.
But with how easy people gobbled this movie up and are begging for more cameos and more of this, I think Marvel will just see it as like the green light to keep sending out cookie cutter conveyor belt shit. You know what I mean? I don't know though. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm overthinking it.
One last thing too, I'm a little bit confused with the end of the movie because Logan and Deadpool end the movie still in the Fox universe. They're still in Earth, like, you know, whatever fucking set of numbers. I don't know. They're not in 616, right? So is he really even in the Marvel universe then? You know, technically speaking, quote unquote, because I know the whole narrative is that, oh, this is the movie that brings them into the MCU. They're still in the same universe that the movie started in. So I'm just confused a little bit, but it's not that deep. Whatever.
Those are my opinions. Those are my thoughts. That's my spoiler video. Thank you very much, guys. Again, keep it civil. I had some comments in the last video. Like, some guy commented. I think it's gone now. I think YouTube might have removed it or something. I don't delete comments, but I got a comment that told me to get cancer and die because I didn't like this movie. Like, what the fuck, dude? But yeah, okay. Keep it civil. Appreciate it. Much love. And that's it, guys.
I'm in the industry of service with a smile. Let's sing a song together and be happy you're in town. It doesn't matter, you're an asshole. It's part of my job. I'm just glad there's so many of you keeping me calm. Stick your chest out, what a sight it is to behold.